In 300 yards, keep right to continue towards Tons Lane, A355. Keep right. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto the M4 slip road to London, Heathrow Airport. In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4. Continue on M4 for 5 miles.
yesterday that his roadmap would be completed on July the 19th. You'll no longer have to wear a face mask. You'll be able to invite friends into your home for a party, and you could even dance at a nightclub and order a beer or a glass of wine at the bar. As the Prime Minister insisted yesterday, if we can't lift lockdown restrictions now, then when? We have to balance the risks. The risks of the disease, which the vaccines reduced but very far from eliminated, and the risks of continuing with legally enforced restrictions that inevitably take their toll.
In 2 miles, at junction 4B, exit towards M3, M23.
And we must be honest with ourselves that if we can't reopen our society in the next few weeks, when we will be helped by the arrival of summer and by the school holidays, then we must ask ourselves, when will we be able to return to normal? Implicit in those remarks, Tom, is that further restrictions might be needed this winter. There was no mention of that word irreversible, but the Prime Minister and Health Secretary Sajid Javid previously insisted that when we lifted these restrictions, we would not be going back. However, yesterday, the Prime Minister took a different tone. Infections were rising and more people would die. The roadmap in February was seeing cases rise very rapidly. There could be 50,000 cases detected per day by the 19th, and again, as we predicted, we're seeing rising hospital admissions, and we must reconcile ourselves, sadly, to more deaths from COVID. In these circumstances, we must take a careful and a balanced decision. Despite the Prime Minister there saying the government wants to take a careful and balanced decision, there was some water between him and his scientists, flanked by, of course, Professor Chris Whitty, the Chief Medical Officer, and Sir Patrick Vallance, the Chief Scientific Advisor, particularly on this issue of wearing face masks. This is what Professor Whitty had to say.
I would wear a mask under 3 situations, and I would do so particularly at this point when the epidemic is clearly significant and rising. And the first is in any situation which was indoors and crowded, or indoors with close proximity to other people. And that's because masks help protect other people.
In a 1/4 mile, at junction 4B, exit towards M3, M23.
The second situation I'd do it is if I was required to by any competent authority. I would have no hesitation about doing that, and I would consider that was a reasonable and sensible thing if they had good reasons to do that. And the third reason is if someone else was uncomfortable if I did not wear a mask, as a point of common courtesy.
Exit at junction 4B, then keep right at the fork.
Chris Whitty speaking last night for Oxford. Thank you very much indeed. Let's pick up on that issue of face masks and get some political reaction. Lord Gavin Bardwell is Conservative Whip here, former Chief of Staff at 10 Downing Street when Theresa May was Prime Minister. According to you, Lord Bardwell, you think this face masks decision is a mistake. Why?
I think even rigid by the government's own objective.
Keep right at the fork.
People to resume normal life, then we need to give people confidence that it's safe to do so. And I think the face mask issue is different from the others. If you or I
Continue on M25 south for 1.5 miles.
personal responsibility, what risk do we want to put ourselves at versus what we get out of that? But as Chris Whitty was just saying there, with mask wearing, it's more you're asking people to do something not to protect themselves, to take responsibility for their own safety, but to protect others. We've already got, sadly, a small minority that don't follow the rules, and my concern would be if you take away the requirement, you're going to make people feel less safe on public transport in particular.
The Prime Minister addressed that last night in a sense by saying there are some people who, in certain circumstances, they're sitting on a train carriage late at night on their own. Why on earth should they be legally required, compelled to wear a mask when there's no one around them?
So, of course, you can think of that odd extreme example, but my experience of using public transport over the last few weeks is most of the time I get on a train or a tube, it's not just me sitting in a carriage, there are people all around me, and therefore making sure that we're all doing what we need to do to keep each other safe, I think is really important. I broadly accept what the government was trying to do yesterday. I think the Prime Minister is right. There's never going to be a moment where the government could relax these restrictions and say it's not going to lead to anyone else getting infected, getting ill, getting into hospital. So it's got to be done at some point. It's a very difficult balance and judgment about whether you do it now, into quite high, but you've got the advantage of school holidays and summer weather, or whether you leave it later. But I think this particular decision on masks actually is conscious of what the government is trying to achieve.
In a 1/4 mile, at junction 14, use the left 2 lanes to take the A3113 exit to Heathrow Airport.
Protection for the government.
Use the left 2 lanes to exit at junction 14, then keep right.
I think not only restrictions on settings, even that document acknowledged that if there was a variant
Keep right.
that was vaccine, available vaccines, or maybe over winter there might be a need to reintroduce some. I think that has always been there, and there's always been this tension between the
Continue for half a mile.
and the recognition that in certain circumstances you might have no choice.
Good to speak to you, Lord Gavin Barlow, Conservative here for the Chief of Staff in 10 Downing Street during the last Prime Minister's time in office, 11 minutes past 7. Aldo Zilli is an Italian chef, food industry consultant, founder of Casa Zilli, a new restaurant and takeaway setup at his house in Surrey. Wonderful to see you this morning, Mr. Zilli. Thank you for joining us. You must be delighted with these restrictions.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Airport Way, A3113.
I feel a bit sorry for the Prime Minister because, everybody's having to go him one way or the other. What decision should he make? And God knows. God only knows what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen in the winter. Is it all going to come back? Is it all going to kick off again? The word non-reversible wasn't mentioned yesterday, which worries me immensely because the cases are going up and we are going to strip off next on the 19th of everything, masks and so on. Me personally, I've had my 2 jabs. What worries me is I've had lots of friends and family that don't want the jabs. What about those people? Who's mentioning those people?
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Southern Perimeter Road.
Should you behave like we do, people that have jabs? Am I safe going on a train with my son on a packed train? Am I safe going to a very, especially at the moment with the football, going to a pub, standing at a bar, screaming? The answer to that is probably not.
But for the restaurant,
Exit the roundabout onto Southern Perimeter Road.
not having to do the test and trace when you come in at the door, the idea of being able to have full capacity.
In 200 yards, at the roundabout, take the second exit and stay on Southern Perimeter Road.
It's here for if restrictions do have to be applied again for winter.
Don't get me wrong, I am all for it to relax everything because it's putting customers off coming to the business, to the hospitality industry, having to do all the paperwork.
Exit the roundabout onto Southern Perimeter Road.
and the social
Continue on Southern Perimeter Road for 1.5 miles.
So, of course, we embrace all of that, but safety first. When in my business here, I still maintain that my staff need to be safe, my customers need to be safe. So, masks is something that I think I'm going to carry on with the staff. I think it's important. Obviously, if you go to a restaurant, you take your mask off, you sit down, you have your dinner. That's fair enough. But I'm talking about crammed places where, I'm slightly concerned about nightclubs, but they have to reopen. And, very rightly so, the Prime Minister said, if not now, when we're going to do this. And this is the perfect time, I think, in the summer.
Interesting that you'll get your staff to keep on wearing them. Really good to speak to you. Thank you for coming on. Aldo Zilli, you are an Italian chef, certainly judging by your football shirt that you're wearing this morning. A very proud Italian chef, food industry consultant, founder of Casa Zilli. Do you think the government is making the right decision, particularly when it comes to this idea of face masks? But in opening up now with cases at 28,000, with Boris Johnson being quite, I thought, stark yesterday in saying this could go up to 50,000 cases. Now, at the moment, one person in 50 who has coronavirus goes into hospital. Those numbers, that ratio is far better than what it was in January last year. And the most reassuring thing I took from yesterday was the Chief Medical Officer, Chris Whitty, saying, even once we hit the very peak of what we're going through now, this third wave, even once we hit the projected peak of that third wave, the NHS will be protected from collapsing in a way that it wasn't protected in January or February and March last year, which meant we had to lock down. If the consideration for locking down and putting in restrictions is protect the NHS, then according to Chris Whitty, it's job done. Do you take some solace and comfort from that? Or will you be carrying on with the restrictions and you think this decision to remove them now is ludicrous? 0345 6060 873 is the number. 84850 to text. You can tweet at LBC. We'll come to your calls in a moment. Plus,
the military compartment that was intended to fight extremism and terrorism, that rather than doing the
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Beacon Road.
UK troops leave Afghanistan, but worries about the terror threat to the UK increasing in that country. We'll hear from the former UK National Security Advisor in just a moment. Tom Swarbrick here, 7:16 is the time. Holly Harris has your headlines.
Boris Johnson says it's now or never to lift COVID restrictions in England, with schools breaking up, creating a natural fire break. A change to the rules around school bubbles will be outlined later in the Commons. It's thought they'll be replaced by enhanced testing. A crowd of 15,000 people will be watching on centre court at Wimbledon today. It'll be at full capacity for the first time since the start of the pandemic. The weather, rain in northern parts, sunny spells and showers elsewhere. A high of 20.
Exit the roundabout onto Beacon Road. In 100 yards, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Stanwell Road.
Maple Cross, and that's following an accident, although all the lanes are now back open. In Holloway, the A1 Holloway Road is closed northbound from Parkhurst Road up to
Exit the roundabout onto Stanwell Road. Continue on Stanwell Road for half a mile.
District, Hammersmith and City lines, and then on the trains, Great Northern services can't stop at stations between New Barnet and Finsbury Park because of an ongoing track problem.
This is LBC. If the thought of selling your car feels like, why not sell your car like a pro at motorway.co.uk? Motorway finds your best offer from a nationwide network of verified dealers. You can get up to £1,000 more than part exchange. Sell your car.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Hatton Road.
.co.uk and sell your car like a pro. Motorway.co.uk. This is LBC. Welcome to Love Matcher UK. Enter the details of your perfect partner.
Okay, so, ideal height and build. A bit taller than me. Eyes. Yes, these. Favourite food? Anything warm? Hobbies? Being vague rarely gets the best results.
Turn right onto Hatton Road, then turn left onto Staines Road.
Engineering innovative technology into every lens we make. All subtly engraved with our signature hallmark. Zeiss lenses. Precision you can see. Available at Boots Opticians.
When you own a small business, whether you're an IT consultant or selling flowers, your tech is your lifeline.
Oh no!
Sorry, we lost you. You there?
Great. But with Direct Line Business Tech Essentials, you can get your stolen or damaged tech replaced in 24 hours from claim approval. Whether it's laptop...
Turn left onto Staines Road, A315.
That's Direct Line Business Insurance. Direct Line.
Cover and claim limits apply Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. except bank holidays. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on Staines Road, A315.
By the time the car's heated up, you're already at your destination. At Honda, we listened to the chattering of teeth, and we made an app for the new Honda E, so you can control your car remotely, warming it up while you eat your toast and checking its charge while finishing your coffee. The new Honda E. Honda, the power of dreams.
Dinner Lady Margaret spent her 25-year career laughing and joking with the school children. Then she received a call out of the blue about her pension from what she thought was a reputable firm. But it was a scammer.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on Staines Road, A315.
Don't let a scammer enjoy your retirement. Check who you're dealing with. Visit ScamSmart from the Financial Conduct Authority.
Planning a day out to the Kent coast or travelling for work between the 13th and 18th of July? The open Gulf at Sandwich means many southeastern trains and some stations will be very busy during this time. To keep the network running smoothly, a mandatory reservation system will be in place for certain morning high-speed services, and there will be changes to train times on other routes across Kent. Please make alternative travel arrangements if you can, and if you do need to travel during this time, plan ahead at southeasternrailway.co.uk.
This is LBC. Nick Ferrari at breakfast with Tom Swarbrick. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Morning to you, 7 is the time. Tom Swarbrick in for Nick Ferrari on LBC this morning. The new Health Secretary, Sajid Jawa, newish Health Secretary. Secretary Sajid Javid will join us in about half an hour on the programme after what was, I thought, I don't know whether you saw it last night, but I thought it was quite a sombre performance from Boris Johnson, given that this was meant to be the moment that Freedom Day, so-called, was being announced. Possibly a feeling that we are coming to the end of this. The Prime Minister absolutely determined to make sure that people don't go, to use his words, de-mob happy if and when the restrictions come off on the 19th. Richard in Knightsbridge, you want to get on the radio this morning. Tom, after July 19th and in the middle of a lethal pandemic, people will not be required to wear masks on public transport and in shops. This is more than dangerous, says Richard. It's idiotic, stupid and beggars belief. Chris is in Richmond. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Tom. I have to say, I think there's a range double standard from a lot of Conservative MPs in this government. Last night they voted through a voter ID bill. Right? They didn't give a monkey's about civil liberties, right? Because people then get potentially be disenfranchised from voting. They are quite happy for people who are unmasked to be sitting on the tube, including anti-vaxxers, people, and then they're putting at risk pregnant women and those that cannot have a vaccine. If we want our cities to return to normal, people need to continue to wear masks on public transport and shops.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Shaftesbury Avenue.
For now, given that cases are rising, or Chris, would you want to see that until, I don't know, well, forever, potentially?
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem if it does go on for a while. I've been to China many times for the last decade of work, and, you know, you have a slight sniff of a cold, and out of respect, you sit and wear a mask in an office.
Take the next right onto Shaftesbury Avenue, then turn left onto Roslin Avenue.
Burgers and leave food on the tube in Singapore. Yes, it's more authoritarian, but you get fined a lot of money if you eat on the tube. I just think our habits have got to change as a society. You know, it's not really that much you ask someone to wear a mask. I'm about to go to Tesco and have ice and milk. It's going to take me 5 minutes. Is it really that much of a civil liberty infringement just to get a mask on to protect myself and other people?
For what it's worth, and I know that people are rightly sceptical of polling at the moment, but for what it's